Hey everyone, welcome back to D&J's Epic Quest. My name is Justin, and this is...
This is Derek, and probably for the last time, Bird That Steals. I'll probably let that go since we're finished with this book.
So we had one episode where we didn't do it at all because we were letting it go, and now bringing it back.
I'm bringing it back for one
I
more.
guess, okay, for, old time's sake, aka soft pillows.
There we go.
There.
I think we're gonna have a lot of fun today. It's gonna be a really good show. We've got a couple guests on here. We've got Cash Mora and we've got Evan. If you guys would like to introduce yourselves.
So, hi, my name is Cash Mora. You guys probably know me from Reddit. I've been following your podcast for, I don't know, since the time you guys started off, isn't it?
Yeah, you were the first to actually give us any type of good and negative, well, not negative, but constructive feedback. So we appreciate that.
Yeah. So it's I know it's such a pleasure to finally talk to you guys and come sit down for a recording. I don't know. We've had this in the work for quite some time, isn't it?
Yeah. I feel like Derek and I had this planned for ever since we started. Like, yeah, we should totally bring on guests for the last episode. And we were 2 chapters into the book. So
yeah,
things just kind of evolve. Yeah, it's good to talk to you.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you guys too.
Welcome on the show.
Thanks. Thank you.
My name's Evan. For those of you that are listening, and I started Malazan back in May. I'm on book 7 now, but I found this podcast when I was on book 1 still, I think towards the very end, if I'm not mistaken. And that's how I got connected with you guys. And like I said, I'm really enjoying Malazan. I've read a lot of adult fantasy in the past couple of years, and Malazan's definitely, as of right now, it's the best so far. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm reading the Ian Esselmont books simultaneously with Erickson's main 10, so it's gonna be a while before I finish, but thanks for letting me come on.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And yeah, you've kind of been a I guess I don't know if cheerleader's maybe the right word, but every time when people would post these things on Facebook, oh, I'm starting this book, Justin or I would always try to chime in and pitch ourselves a little bit, and a lot of times you were right there. Yeah. Backing us up. So it's good to have you out here, and we appreciated the help.
Likewise.
Well, cool. Those are our amazing guests. What do you say, Derek? Should we get started with the epilogue here to Gardens of the Mood?
Sure thing. Did you want to take the epigraph today?
Yeah, I totally can. Let me just whip it out.
Be careful about that.
The video's off.
Kids are gone.
Yep. No, there's no one here. It's just me. All right. Our epigraph for our epilogue here. I have seen a rumor born, swathed in snug mystery, left lying under the sun in the hills of the Gedrobi, where the sheep have scattered on wolf-laden winds, and the shepherds have fled a whispering of sands. And it blinked in the glare, a heart hardened into stone, while the shadow of the gates of nowhere crept across the drifting dust of home. I have seen this rumor born, 100,000 hunters of the heart, in a city bathed in blue light. I totally feel like that epigraph, even though I feel like I never really understand any of them, is talking about Darujistan and the rumor that essentially, brought people to Darujistan. So I don't know.
I think that makes sense.
I feel like it felt like really send-offy. I don't know why, but maybe that's just because I'm expecting to be sent off, because it's literally the last thing you can read in this book. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from the epilogue as a whole, I got those feelings too.
That's good. That's cute.
Thanks, Justin.
All right. Well.
All right.
Why don't you take us away?
All right. The morning light lit up the lake, and down on the beach, a small boat was ready to head out into the water. Mallet and Whiskey Jack sat on a rock overlooking the beach. They saw Quick Ben looking out over the lake, watching Moonspawn drift further south. Mallet wondered what that meant. Whiskey Jack winced in some pain, and his hand went to his head. Mallet asked if it was his headaches. Whiskey Jack said they weren't as bad lately. Mallet said he was more worried about his leg anyways and needed to work on it more when time allowed. They hear Hedge call out from behind them. He says they're coming. Mallet said it could have been a lot worse, and Whiskey Jack says losing 3 isn't that bad. Whiskey Jack says to get moving. Paran likes to be on time, and hell, maybe the Morant have some good news for a change. On the beach, Quick Ben watched Mallet help Whiskey Jack up the hill, and Quick Ben wondered if it was time. He thought to stay alive, no one could let up. The best plans work within other plans, and when it is time for a feint big. He thought keeping the other plan hidden was the hardest part. He felt that the time wasn't right. Whiskey Jack deserved time to heal. He forced himself to move, and he wouldn't look back. That never went well, and he thought the plan is hatched, and Whiskey Jack will howl when he hears it. Man, reading that, I feel like Quick Ben's just setting up to betray everybody here sometime later on.
You thought betrayal?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I guess I didn't even consider that perspective.
Yeah, because I feel like he's hiding something.
Well, right, but I feel like, I almost said Whiskey Ben. Quick Ben's MO is, he seems like he comes up with these, he's the planner, right? And I think that Whiskey Jack is just maybe not ready to hear what he has planned. I don't know if it necessarily goes towards like backstabbing or mutiny or anything like that. I just think that he's not going to like what he hears. I guess that's just my take on it.
Sure. Well, Mora, Evan. Well, Mora, you finished the series, correct?
Yeah, I'm actually on I'm on a reread right now. So
okay. I guess without giving things away, is one of us on the right track?
It's actually
putting you on the spot.
Not really. It's not such a big deal. I know the way the wording is given here, all these best plans within plans and all that. It's not such a big deal, actually, the way it is hyped up here. That's all I'll tell you. So
okay.
Don't worry too much about it.
Ah, very good answer, Mora. No acknowledgement on who's right. This is the true form. I love it.
Well, I didn't want to know which one of us was right, if we were at all, but just
I wanted to.
If there's something there, I can totally wait until later, read and find out, as we say.
Yeah, Raffo.
Yeah. Yep. Raffo.
I guess the only other thing that I guess I'm just thinking about now, Mr. Derek, is there something to Whiskey Jack's headaches? I feel like he's always in some type of headache-ness. So, and the only thing that I really have to go back to is, when Reyes was essentially approaching Darujistan, every high mage or everybody who, has some type of sorcery ability had this gigantic headache. So is he just constantly feeling like the power?
But I don't think Whiskey Jack did then.
What? Whiskey Jack has headaches.
But I don't remember them mentioning that he had a headache.
Oh, you're right. Okay,
coming to the city.
Got it. Damn it.
Sorry to shit on your parade.
No, it's okay. I'm used to it. Never mind. I digress.
I could have let you finish first. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pull Kanye on you.
Ooh. Damn. I was going to say something not very appropriate, but I'll keep that to myself.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess did you have any type of feeling when you were starting off the epilogue here?
Not so much at the beginning, other than just, I had more feelings at the end of it, but I didn't know what to expect. But yeah, I think, I don't have anything else to say. If you want to continue on, I'll have more to say later.
That's fair. Yeah, we can move on to my section here. Captain Paran listened to the others on the beach below, but did not join them. His experiences with Ascendants had made him more sensitive than he used to be, or maybe it was this Otetero sword. He could sense her now, already an adolescent, plump as he knew she'd be. In his head, Paran, he said that he would come for her. When this Penian skier and his holy war were crushed, I will come to you then, Tattersail. In Paran's head he heard, "What now?" Whispered, surprised Paran calls out for Tattersail again. Only silence is returned. He questions if that answer had been his own inner voice. Paran rises from a crouch at Lauren's grave, heading down to join the others on the beach. He has a thought about being the adjunct's agent, to now finally being a soldier. In his head, he heard the voice say, "Then I'll wait for a soldier." This time, Paran knew that it wasn't his imagination. I don't know. I thought this little section was cute. Like he's having this whole like weird telekinetic romance with a adolescent plump child. I thought that was cool how they were able to communicate with each other, and there was a moment of questioning his sanity. But I'm glad that didn't get dragged out too long. I guess my only other question is this Penny and Seer. Like I know that he's been mentioned a few times in this book. No more details are really given about it. I've got a feeling that this is where the bridge burners are headed, since Paran is essentially the head of the bridge burners at this point.
Yeah, I guess we don't know till we read further, right?
That is true. That is true. I feel like a lot of these sections don't really allow us to speculate too much because there's so many ways as to which this could go,
Yeah.
I guess, how did you feel about Lauren getting a grave?
I don't know. I feel like Lauren was probably one of the characters I connected with least. So to me, it was just whatever, I guess.
I don't know. It almost kind of seems like a sign of respect, though. It's just funny because Paran was all about killing Lauren. Granted, he never really gets to that, but I mean, why bury her? Is what I keep questioning.
Yeah, I guess I don't know.
I think he empathized with her.
You think he empathizes with her?
Yeah, on like an emotional level, or as far as being caught between, because you get to see a lot of like towards the end of the book, you get to see Lauren kind of questioning
Right.
Lucine and questioning and thinking about before she became Lauren. So I think Perrin probably noticed that in her, and I think he relates to her on that, because you got to think about it. Both their lives like completely changed once Perrin got involved with the gods or whatever, and once Lauren became the adjunct. And also too, I mean, what you were just saying about how like they had a respect for each other, it kind of reminded me of like sometimes how sports rivals will have like that, they hate each other but they'll have that that mutual respect.
That's fair. I like where you're going with that.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks, Heaven.
Yep.
I like that much better than what I had. But I guess I don't really have any other comments on that. So I don't know. Do you want to take us home, Bird That Steals?
Sure thing. We'll wrap this section up. Kalam leaned on the side of the boat as it made its way to Devarin. Near him was another passenger he found unremarkable. He was able to hear Apsalar and Crocus. They sounded excited as they danced around each other. Kalam smiled, happy for them and thinking it had been a long time since he had witnessed such innocence. A moment later, Crocus was at his side, saying that he heard from Call that Unta was bigger than Darujistan. Kalam says it may be, but it'll doubts that they'll have time to visit. Idko Khan and Unta are on opposite sides of the continent. He asks if he already misses Darujistan. Crocus said he would miss some of the people there, that is all. Kalam says he shares the same feeling. Crocus says Apsalar is having a hard time believing that they are going through all this trouble and work for her. She doesn't remember being liked well within the squad. Kalam says it wasn't really her though, was it? And she's a long ways away from home. Crocus says she's more than that, as he played with a coin in his pocket and Kalam shot him a glare. Crocus then asked Kalam if he believed in luck. Kalam, seemingly annoyed, only said no. Crocus, with a smile on his face, said he didn't either, flipped the coin into the air and watched it drop into the water and disappear. Circle Breaker watched from the front of the boat. The eel would be happy with this news and relieved as well. He looked to the west and wondered what it would be like to no longer be anonymous in the world. I had a feeling that Crocus was going to ditch the coin.
Oh, you did? When? I was not expecting that. I didn't see that one coming.
Me either.
Not till later. I mean, honestly, it probably wasn't even till the epilogue. Like even before reading it, it was just.
You just had a sneaky intuition.
Yeah, I mean, because I thought about it, as they're talking about being on the boat, like what better place to get rid of it? I mean,
Right.
somebody's not going to be diving down there to find it.
Well, and I mean, nobody
Um,
really knows about it except for the people that are around him, and they don't want this coin either.
Yeah, so I guess what I had thought about is, so what, didn't Crocus get told kind of the same thing once his luck changes to ditch the coin or give it to his worst enemy, right?
Right.
Or was that just the sword? So is this, everything that happened before was maybe we should have been looking things in the other direction. Now, maybe none of that stuff was I guess good luck, for lack of a better term. Maybe we were expecting things to go south, and that's when he ditches the coin. But maybe it's when things start going well that he ditches it.
I had a feeling like you were going for this, but you bring up a good point. Is it possible, being that there is, there's, Opon is twins, right? So does one represent good luck and the other represent bad? So was Paran blessed with good luck, being that, he was essentially brought back from the dead, and Crocus was gifted bad luck? I don't know how I can make any more sense of that. I don't really have anything that I could associate to it, but Crocus has been saved how many times now? So I wouldn't consider that bad luck. So it really kind of denounces that theory, but that's just kind of like, where I'm going at the moment.
But to me, the fact that he needed to be saved, to me, that I feel like that's saying like, oh, your luck's not that great if you need saving,
Or is that why Krupp was so insistent on protecting him, as well as Brood and everybody else, is because they recognized this was not the good luck of Opon. Because it wasn't Opon that really influenced his saving, right? It was always the third party. Whereas with Paran, it seems to have been directly from Opon. Am I crazy in thinking that?
I feel like maybe that's, you're not so much asking me there, you're asking Evan and Cashmore.
Anybody.
Can I just, you have a good point about, because it's Opon is twins. There is a lady and a lord.
Right.
Isn't it? And I'm not sure if it is explicit here, but what you're saying is right. One of them is good luck and one of them is bad luck. So there is something called the ladies pull and the lords push, or the other way around. Right?
Prod and pull.
Yeah.
Damn it!
Yeah.
I was wondering when that was going to come back in.
There it is.
So that's how it goes. So once you're blessed with luck, you never know when it's going to turn, isn't it?
Right.
So when Paran gives up his sword and when Crocus throws away the coin, the idea is that any moment now it's going to change. So why wait for the Lord's push to happen, isn't it? That's the way I saw them giving up their Opon favored objects, because they didn't want to wait for the luck to turn.
So thus initiating closure, which is being that it's an epilogue.
Or acceptance.
Right. Oh God, I didn't even think of that. This is good. You guys available every week?
I am. On Saturday.
I mean, Derek, we could talk about it.
You guys should actually do at the end of every sub book, you should get people around. There will be some consolidation of the things you see through each sub book, isn't it?
Yeah.
You guys should do like that, because these are really dense books and it keeps getting denser as you go further.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And I feel like
and better.
Right. Which is what I heard. I've heard that this book is not. It is very low ranked amongst, or I mean, comparatively to the other books. But
still a good book. But yeah.
It's one of my favorites, though.
Oh, really?
I defend the book all the time. Yeah.
You know what I noticed? I noticed on rereads, a lot of people really, really like it. A lot of people say it's one of their favorites.
You've not reread it, Evan?
No, I'm on my first read. I'm on book number 7. I'm on Reaper's Gale right now.
Ah, okay. Yeah, but Gardens has the more return for value when you reread it. Like, so many things clear up the first time you read it again.
Do you think that like that phenomena is because it's, I mean, when you first read, it's the first book in the series, so it is your first experience with, Steven Erikson. And, I will admit, I struggled at first to kind of understand things and how he liked to write, and he doesn't like to handhold. Like you're just expected to kind of pick up and be patient and wait for the payoff. So I think going back and rereading it now that you're familiar with the way that he writes and everything that you've read, well, I could see your point where rereading it is much more I guess I can't think of the word for it. Amazing.
Rewarding.
Yeah. Rewarding. There you go. I like that.
Well, also think about it like this. You don't really learn too much in book one, but if you're doing a reread by now, it's like you already know everything about the magic system. You know how like the politics works. You know the characters. Because honestly, in Gardens, you really don't know much about the magic system. You don't even know much about the deck of dragons yet. So when you know all that, and then you go back and read, and you see some of especially the scenes where they mess with the deck or stuff like that, it'll really click. I'm sure.
Well,
Yeah, I imagine after you finish the series and reread it, you can probably pick up all those things where the groundwork is being laid,
oh,
That's
for the payoff later on.
Absolutely, and that's one of the like amazing things about Erickson's writing is that there's some stuff you still don't ever get like completely summarized from him. Like you won't. There's things that you get bits and pieces of, and then there's a lot of lore.
No, there is some things which I noticed in your episodes. You guys come up with some doubts, and then you hope that maybe we will read and find out, or maybe we will find this specific answer in some future book. But I would temper your expectations because so many things are not really clear on the next book or the next few books or anything. Like I think you guys were wondering about Paran's sword and when exactly Opon started paying attention to him, isn't it? I think there was something in your last episode. You were wondering when exactly did Opon decide to help Paran. There is no explicit explanation anywhere in the future because it's already been given, but you just don't know that. When he's at the Hood's realm and he's thinking about his sword and wondering why did he name his sword that specific name. He names it Chance, isn't it?
right, correct, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was the one which attracted Opon to to pick him for using.
I mean,
So
it makes me feel better knowing that there isn't an actual answer. It makes me feel less crazy, but that's just me.
no, that's a good attitude to have because so many things are left open to interpretation like that.
Okay.
So because sometimes I feel bad when you guys think, oh, maybe we can wait another few books and find out what's the answer for this.
Well, it's a good thing we didn't start writing all these things down so we
That
could
would have
go
been
back
funny though.
or keep track of them. Like, well, we didn't get an answer on this. We didn't get an answer on this. Or, like you said, we already passed the answer.
Like every time I talk to Derek, I'm like, well, how do you feel about this, or what do you think's gonna happen with this? He's like, I don't know, just here for the ride, and that's actually the best like way to approach Erickson. That's probably the perfect attitude to have towards him because otherwise you might get frustrated here and there. So you guys have the perfect mind state going into this.
Hell yeah. I guess that I love that. That was a great tangent away from the last section here. Derek, what do you say we move into our bullet points? Should we talk about some of this stuff?
I guess the one thing I would like to add to this last section is and you're not going to understand this, Justin, because you haven't watched the movies. I felt a lot of Lord of the Ring vibes at the end of the Return of the King when everybody's sailing off at the end. That's kind of the feeling I got on this one for some reason. I don't know. That's just what was in my head.
You know what? Actually, I've been waiting to announce this to you.
Did you watch them?
I watched the first two.
Oh.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Yeah, eat that. Eat it. I think I'd rather.
Did you watch the extended editions?
Yeah, the 4-hour long ones. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't do it. I couldn't binge it. It probably took me about 2 weeks to watch those two movies. I get sleepy.
Well, you got one more to go.
Yep.
And then when you see the end of the third one, think about this very last section.
Okay, can do. Will do.
It's not a direct comparison, but that was the vision I had in my head, I guess.
No worries. Yeah, I guess I always go back to the Goonies, the end of the Goonies, where like they're all on the beach and they're all like they have found the rubies and they're all ripping up. But yeah, I don't know. Not quite as comedic, of course, but just the scenery.
And when the ship comes out of the cave.
Yep, exactly. You goody. But yeah. Well, I guess looking back at the podcast, Mora and Evan, were there any favorite moments, quotes, characters, etc., that you found yourself when reading this latching onto, and I guess maybe sharing in our favorites of the book? Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
I actually kind of like Lauren a lot,
Really?
but yeah, because I really like grimdark fantasy. So, and that's always morally gray characters, and and Lauren was definitely morally gray. So, I don't know, and I liked how she was conflicted. I just thought Erickson wrote her part pretty well. See, I didn't. The thing with me is, from what I hear from most people, is they like the second half of Gardens of the Moon, but they had to struggle to get through the first half. I'm the opposite. I really enjoyed the first half, but what's it called? Darujistan arc, I didn't really like it as much. So a lot of those characters I didn't really care for in this book. I mean, later on, I obviously, but I really like Tattersail.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty upset, when that whole thing happened. And I don't know, I didn't really like, I thought the way Lauren went out was kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, just Lauren. I like Lauren, Tattersail, Whiskey Jack, of course. I thought Hairlock was pretty funny.
Asshole puppet. Yes.
And who else? You don't really get as much from Kalam and Quickben as you will later on. But yeah, that's pretty much. I think from what I can remember, that's pretty much it. And Cotillion.
What about you, Kashmora?
Yeah, I agree. Lone was one of my favorites. Even during my first read, she really stood out to me because I'd not read that many well-written female characters at that point. It was really cool for me to see Lone. I've told you guys this before, that chapter 9 is my favorite because of the dinner scene. So where Lone and Tattersail meet up, and you sort of have this conflicted loyalty, because till then you were on Tattersail's side and you were thinking, yeah, she's one of the good guys. And then once you see Lone's side of the riots, the Mouse Quarter riots and all that, and then you start, you start wondering whom exactly do you support. So this, and I think you guys were very perceptive in picking up those conflicts quite early on, isn't it? Because I remember very early on, even before the Darujistan thing happened, I think you guys were wondering, are the Malazans the good guys, or what? Because they're mining the city and all that. Because this is the type of conflict which stays throughout the series. Like you really don't know who to root for.
Right. Yes. I feel like that was a reoccurring theme for us for a while. But yeah, no, that makes so much sense. I guess I think that there's different shades of gray, so to speak, for Lauren. I'm hearing that both of you liked her and liked her character. I found myself empathizing with her, but at the same time, like, I hated her morally gray part. So I feel like I'm in between like and hate.
But you don't. The thing is, you get to see these things happen even in the prologue, isn't it? The Mouse Quarter was happening right there.
Right.
So when Paran was on Mock's hold, you guys can remember that Tattersail and Lone are both at the same spot at the same time, going through something entirely different, isn't it?
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and this is one of the reasons why Gardens, especially when you read the prologue again, you're going to realize all these things, isn't it? So this is what I mean when I say the reread value is through the roof. And just to come back to the epilogue for a minute, you guys were saying that the epilogue is just there's hardly some 3 talking points here, but each one sets up a completely new storyline which you're going to follow. It's not exactly a sense of closure there. These are all like things which are opening up, and which you realize maybe like two books down the line.
I didn't even think about that. That's a good catch.
Damn. How many times have you read Gardens of the Moon, Kashmora?
Once.
Oh, okay.
I read it once 2 years back, and now recently
Okay.
for the read along.
Gotcha.
but it's my favorite. Yeah. So, you know, and for my podcast, we did the loan episode recently. So I had to skim through most of the book for that.
Hey, Mora, did you read any of Ian Esselmont's novels?
I'm reading them right now. Sorry,
Okay.
guys. No, I just finished Stone Wielder like an hour back.
Okay, yeah, I've read the first one, and the reason I say that is because you were talking about the Mouse Quarter, and that book takes place that night.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. You get to see it from so many different angles, the same things.
Yep.
I wanted to ask Derek and Justin one question. Do you guys realize who's the commander in the prologue?
yeah, it's Whiskey Jack.
Yeah, you got it right.
Yeah.
No. I was just saying that some people read the entire book and they don't have an idea that that is Whiskey Jack. So I just wanted to make sure.
I feel like a lot of people who don't really give this book a chance just plow through it for the sake of saying that they read it, but they don't really actually like comprehend anything. I mean, that's what I like. That's what I get out of books is just like taking kind of my artistic brain, right, and creating or painting a picture for it. But as well as like I really love details. So like when it comes down to the whole side thing that you were bringing up, or even Chance and Paran, and when exactly, like the specific timing, even though I don't get that gratification, it's nice to know that there isn't a detail there to get hung up on. But when there are details to get hung up on, like Riga, like I was a huge proponent of that for like 3/4 of the show. And then I just, for whatever reason, doubted myself because, Mr. Bird That Steals got into my head. So I just started doubting myself. But like that was fucking amazing. Like I loved that finally came to fruition.
It wasn't even that I was trying to dissuade you from it. It's just
You
that
were. You admit it.
I didn't feel the same way.
Admit it.
No, never.
So, to be fair to people who don't like gardens, one reason is because the rest of the books are at a very different level. Like, Evan hasn't come to it yet, but book 8, Told the Hounds, is something you can reread like constantly. It's a really it's a crafted book. It's not just written and shut. It's really beautiful. So when compared to books like those, Gardens is you just reread it for the lore and then you move on. The rest of the books have much more deeper themes and explorations, and you can reread them multiple times. Not Gardens. As much as I love the book, it's a single or a two-time rereadable book. That's it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So, to be fair, that's one of the reasons why it's criticized so much.
You're in for a treat with the next book. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Well, we have read the prologue to that.
You guys finished Deadhouse Gate's prologue?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, good. Oh, good. So the writing.
As of this recording, yes, we have read the prologue. Yes.
So you guys know the writing is at a different level already.
Yep.
It was. I think I read it first. It was after. Well, it was last week, I think, right, Justin?
Yeah.
It was after we recorded our previous episode.
Yep. Yeah, after we recorded our last the last chapter, we were like, well, I mean, it's the epilogue. There's not anything that is going to spoil the next book, so let's just read the prologue. One, because we were impatient and antsy.
And we did have the epilogue for this book read too. I mean, so we were finished with this book. We just weren't done recording for it.
Right.
Yeah, holy crap. It was, I don't think I've read anything like that ever.
No, not at all. That was some good writing. The very first paragraph of the prologue, my jaw was dropped.
I remember feeling nauseous throughout the prologue.
Is a good way to put it.
It was a big step up in like how graphic it was too.
Yeah,
that's what surprised me most of all. Just a lot more serious. The tone changes, and after Gardens, it's like Erickson's writing gets way more philosophical and more. It's not as thin. It's the Deadhouse Gates is actually probably my favorite book in the series so far.
That's what we keep hearing. So we're I think that's also not helping our excitement. But
you got delay the gratifications.
Right.
Yeah.
I Do you want to take the next bullet point there, Derek? I feel like we've got quite a bit of favorite moments, quotes, and characters.
Sure. I guess I can't remember the exact quote right now, but I think it was Mallet that said it. But when he was talking to Whiskey Jack, about how it's not easy losing friends, in battle. I can't remember the exact quote, but
Where he
if you guys remember more about it.
jaw drops everybody in the room because no one is expecting him to be that philosophical.
Yeah, it's just I think about that moment a lot. That's probably the moment that sticks out the most for me in this book. And to me, it's like you're talking to. I mean, I guess he is a soldier, but you're talking to a soldier who's been to war and seen some shit, and you just kind of have that respect for what they went through, and that's just what stuck with me for whatever reason. That particular quote, and I feel like for liking it so much, I should probably have it memorized, but I don't. That was probably my favorite moment of the book. Out of all this crazy stuff that happened in this book, just a small moment like that made a pretty big impact on me. But as far as our next bullet point, so theories, I guess without spoiling things in later books, I guess we kind of know some of the things we were right on. Is there anything big that's jumping out that we were just completely wrong on?
Way out in left field wrong.
But I feel like both of us had one. We both had a theory relatively early on in the book. Justin, you had Riga, and I had the eel, and that turned out to be right for both of us. Evan, were you going to ask about what theories do we have?
Yeah.
I guess, does Krupp shoving his face have anything to do with his talent? Like, him incessantly needing to eat, does that have anything to do with his ability to see patterns?
No, not to my knowledge, but like I said, I'm not done the series yet. That's actually a good you might be onto something.
Yeah. See, Mora?
No, I do
No,
like
I was
that.
on board with you, Justin.
No, I heard that theory and I really like it. I've not heard it before. So maybe it is necessary for him to dream and see patterns and all that. So I don't know.
Okay.
But it sounds like a really nice theory.
Cool. Well, maybe this is just one of those things that is left to the imagination as far as Erickson goes. We'll just take.
I don't know about you, but I love that scene with him and Karul. That first scene at the fire.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what when I read it, I'm gonna tell you what my prediction was and my thoughts were. Because I've seen the titles of all the books, and I had seen all the titles by the time I was reading Gardens. I started by the way Karul was talking, I was thinking Karul was the crippled god.
Ooh.
That's what crossed my mind.
Right, because all you know
because
at the moment is the book titles.
Yeah, and that's all I knew. And I don't know, just because Krupp said he's an elder god, and then I don't know. I really like that scene. The dialogue was really good. How he was talking about how his followers used to, what did he say? Something like, my followers used to feed me well with blood and flesh or something.
Oh, wow.
But I love how the whole gods thing is set up. I like that there's, to me, Malazan stands out in that, the people that are, myths and legends in that world are, out walking around in the world. I think that's different. I haven't read too many books in a genre that are like that. Just think about imagine if in our world, the people in our myths and legends, imagine if they were just out walking around.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
I mean, it sounds kind of dumb, but it's just one of those things that I noticed about Erickson. It's pretty cool. I like how he set up the whole hierarchy with the gods and the Warrens. It makes I don't know about you, but me, that's what I was most curious about reading that. That's what I was thirsty for, more information about how many gods are there, who's what's the hierarchy. I still find that part interesting, but I thought Karul was definitely a creepy figure.
I guess I feel like I guess I can't speak to any of the other books, but I feel like when it came to Gardens of the Moon, the Ascendants and the gods, there's so little information about it that it's almost hard to imagine them. For me, anyway, it was hard to recognize that they were gods. Me, I'm thinking Animander Rake is just another dude, or Karul is just another dude. And so I feel like I'm not sure where Erickson was going with that. I don't know if that was his intention for you to kind of have that sympathy, so to speak, the ability to relate to gods as you would yourself, or if I don't know where I was going with that tangent.
Yeah, I was surprised because when Krupp was talking to him and Krupp was like, "I think you're an elder god." That shocked me that they would have like someone that high up that early in the series. But what are your thoughts on Karul? Do you think he's good or bad, or what do you think about him?
I mean, and I think it's funny that you bring this up because Derek and I think we just talked about this in the episode that I released last night when Animander Rake is, I guess, walked in on, so to speak, by Karul's apparition at Karul's belfry.
Right.
I think what I found interesting is like why is he forgotten? Because like to me he seems like a stand-up dude. He seemed like he was, right and just, and he seems to be on the right side of all of the different sides that happen in this book. So why was he forgotten? Why is
He says it.
Oh, he did? I must have missed it. What is it?
Kind of. I mean, like I said, where I'm at in the series, I don't know if there's more information. There probably is, but I'm pretty sure, didn't he hint that like his followers aren't around anymore?
Right.
And what I took from that was, as far as the gods in Malazan, is that their power is based off their followers. And I mean, that's pretty much how it's been in most fantasy books. So I think once the followers die out or something like that, I think the god might. I think that they function off of the belief in the followers. I think that's what, if that makes sense. I think when they go away, they're kind of irrelevant. That's how I took it from what Karul was saying. Because I mean, why else would he be forgotten?
So
Evan,
sorry, go ahead, Mora.
sorry, Memories of Ice prologue, book 3. It gives us a clear idea of why exactly Kroll was forgotten.
Oh,
It has a little more detail, yeah. But what Evan is saying is exactly right. That once people stop worshipping somebody, the god's power goes down, and it's likely that they are forgotten or they just disappear basically. So, but for Krull, exactly because he's so powerful, we do get some explanation of why he's forgotten.
gotcha.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
I
we
didn't want
just
to
have
give that
wait.
away. But...
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's
no.
You're
You
fine.
didn't give away anything. You didn't give away anything.
There's still
Yeah.
still plenty of mystery around.
No, I was listening to these guys and I was thinking, they're just one book away from finding out.
Yeah, I mean, I have a problem with talking to where like I didn't even bring that up because sometimes I'll ramble on and accidentally give something away. But no, you didn't give anything away. But I forgot all about that though. That's crazy.
Well, that's good.
Sorry.
No, my only question along with the whole gods thing is like, okay, so if you're worshiping Karul, right, there had to have been some reason why he was forgotten. And and if that is directly linked to followers or, people who believe in this god, how was there not a lineage? Did people convert to a different belief where they wiped out? Like, is that the whole point? Is like, I don't like that god, so I'm going to wipe out their followers?
Like Mora just said, it gets explained in Memories of Ice.
Damn it.
We got a little ways to go.
Another 6 months.
I'm glad she remembered that because I completely forgot.
I guess this isn't so much a theory on my part, but it's more of a question, and I don't know. It would probably be more applicable to a reread, but with the information, if you've only read Gardens of the Moon, I guess that can't be true. But so, Kashmora, you've read the series. If you were rereading Gardens of the Moon again, is the information there for you to know who Circle Breaker is?
No. Circle Breaker is something we know only through Erickson's interviews. You guys want me to tell you? Because, it really doesn't have a bearing with the actual story.
I don't know, Justin. What do you think? Because I think we've both been wondering, like, who the heck is Circle Breaker?
It's set up like that. It's set up like somebody you should be aware of, but
So there's some misdirection then.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about him yet that I remember.
Oh God, that's a tough question. Part of me is like, yeah,
I guess Evan,
absolutely, and the other part is like, no, I want to find out for myself.
Well, Evan, how do you feel? I mean, because you haven't finished this series either. So I guess we definitely take your opinion into account also.
Oh, I don't care.
No, Evan, you're not aware of Circle Breaker or his identity and all that.
Wait, I'm trying to think.
It's only
am
on
I
the
missing
author interviews. There's nothing in the text about him. There's no other extra information in the text.
Oh, yeah. You might as well tell us.
Go for it. If it's not,
Oh yeah, sorry.
and if it's all,
Yeah, he doesn't return either, so it shouldn't matter. It's an author insert. That's all. Erickson was just writing a stand-in for himself.
oh,
And
Oh.
the last, so the last line where he says he's no longer anonymous to the world, that's because he's
Yep.
publishing his first book, and so he's no longer anonymous to the world, something like that. So it's just his stand-in, somebody who's kept anonymous, who was not given a name, just because he wanted it to be his, the author there.
I think Erickson put something like that in one of his one of the things the author writes, and like when he thanks people in the very beginning of a book. I think I remember him using that word, the anonymous to the world phrase.
Oh, okay.
huh.
That's cool though. Erickson put in his little touch on it.
So it's like his own little cameo.
Yeah. So you see him
Does that have
noticing all these tiny details when he's standing at the shift and all that, right?
Right.
So for 6 years he's
Yeah.
been standing at some the Barbican something, isn't it? Despot's Barbican.
Yeah, you're right.
And he notices all the notches in the rock and all that. So Erickson is like that apparently. He notices all these small details, and he commits those things to memory. So he says something like that in one of his long interviews.
Wow.
So that's the big
Okay.
mystery of Circle Breaker.
And yeah, speaking of Erickson too, one thing I noticed is that like even people on smaller platforms who are covering his books, he'll give them interviews. So I'm sure if you guys reached out to him, he'd probably talk to you. Esselman for sure would, but I'm sure at some point Erickson would definitely. I mean, I can't speak for the man because I don't know him, but from what I see, I think he would probably respond if you guys reached out to him.
I did reach out via his website, and I don't know where that email went. If it goes to an
No,
agent or a editor
I
or
think,
somebody. But...
I think you can use his Facebook. He's quite active there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good to
okay.
know.
That might be a different direction we go then.
I don't even know what I would ask the man. I feel like when it comes to, interviewing authors that have probably, that obviously have done this before, like, what do you ask that's original? I mean, those are just always thoughts that I have. I'm like, are you just going to answer the same damn questions over and over again? Or,
Dude, you, off the top of my head, Justin, you have one super good question that I could be pretty certain he hasn't been asked before.
The croup one?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Your crypt theory.
No, from what I've noticed, because he gives multiple interviews, he's not really the type to, get bored of answering the same questions again and again. He's done AMAs repeatedly on Reddit. He comes on all these interviews on YouTube and so many other podcasts. He wouldn't, shut you down or say, this is such an unoriginal question, ask me something else. He's not the type to give off such vibes. So I don't know.
Well, I
It'd be
think
fun if
he's Canadian, I think.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Or he lives in
Yeah.
Canada.
He is
They're pretty
Canadian,
friendly
yeah.
people.
I just always wonder where authors like not Malazan, like Erickson come up with all of this stuff. Like I couldn't even write how to tie my shoes descriptively or interestingly,
Yeah, it baffles me. It's Erickson and R. Scott Baker are the two authors. Like those are the two I hold above like all else. And it sucks because like I always said Baker ruined fantasy for me because I couldn't find anything afterward. But I found Malazan. But after I'm done Malazan, I think Erickson and Baker will have ruined fantasy for me.
I mean, I guess I feel like I'm still a baby when it comes to fantasy because I've finished the Wheel of Time and this book. That's it. That's literally it.
That's great. There's so much good stuff out there. See, I made a point to save Malazan for last, and I'm really, 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 really glad I did, because if I would have knocked that out earlier, I don't think I would have enjoyed a lot of the series that I did, but there's so much good stuff out there. And Erickson's definitely at the top.
Cool. Where I had one more theory, and now I don't remember it. Oh, right.
Way
Okay.
to blow it.
The brood and rake Am I imagining a confrontation there, or is there's something happening between Brood and Rake that I maybe missed specifically with this book?
Are you
No.
asking if there was already a conflict?
I'm asking if there's tension between Brood and Rake.
On one particular point, yes,
And that,
because they are trying to stop Rake from going and killing Opon, isn't it? And that's why they're protecting the coin bearer.
correct.
That is through Kaladin Brood's arrangements, sending the Crimson Guard and all that.
But then
Just that one point.
right, but then at the end Rake, when he's battling the Galean demon, tells Crocus that, Brood has convinced him to spare him. But
For now.
there's no conversation. There's nothing that happens with Brood and Rake,
I think he also says like Brood could heal this for you, or his mental damage or something too. If I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember that.
I think because afterward, remember when he touched Piran and he was like examining him or however he does it, and he was like saying something about how he's been, messed with by the twins and whatever. And I think he said Brood could heal some of the damage. Or no, I'm sorry. It was from when Piran died.
Oh, yep.
That's what he said. He said he could heal some of the emotional damage or something. He said he was like Brood could take care of that. I could have him do that for you or something like that. But you'll get more from them later down the road.
Okay, good. I just didn't want it to be like, and when Rake was shape shifting into the dragon, he could sense like little like pockets of sorcery throughout Jerujistan, and he made some thought about a high mage he thought, like 1,000 leagues away, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? So I don't know if that was just Brood or what.
Yeah, I don't remember. There's a lot I don't remember, like little tiny things, because I've been, because how many I've read since then. Like just being on here with you guys, I'm hearing a lot of things I forgot too. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that I guess refresher is not the right word, but a trip back,
Especially from Mora.
Yeah.
Justin, you've jogged my memory. I guess I've one more. My last theory, I guess. Man, was it even last episode or the one before that? But it talks about Crocus getting a headache, and so I was thinking maybe he doesn't know it yet, but does he have access to a warren of some sort?
Oh, and the whole brick thing too, when he throws bricks at Vorkan.
You're asking about Crocus having extra powers or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not beyond what Opon has favored him with. That's it.
Gotcha.
Because the whole point is that even an assassin, someone as the guild master like Vorkan, even she is not immune to a well-aimed brick, isn't it? So
True. Yeah.
Too well aimed.
It's the things you don't expect.
So that's why the power levels, it doesn't make sense to a lot of readers, because how can this huge assassin be taken down by this small teenager boy or something? Because things happen. Chance has a role in all these things. So even in future, when you see extremely powerful beings taken down by ordinary people, there is some amount of chance, or just happenstance. It can just happen anytime. Just something to keep in mind.
That makes
Absolutely.
A good point.
That makes Rayist and the Galean Lord going down, I guess, a little less disappointing. I was expecting this like huge drawn out thing, and then Rayist.
I wanted to ask you, how did you guys find Rayist going down? Did you think it was too easy?
Yeah, I did.
Like,
honestly, I thought
I
it
did
was
too.
easy.
Right, because
for all the buildup that surrounded him.
Right.
Oh,
I thought
okay.
that part was poorly written, kind of.
It was poorly executed because you don't follow all the things that are happening. At least in the first read, you're not really sure how many people are involved in bringing down Raised. So that at least 5 dragons were involved in trying to bring him down as soon as he emerged from the Gadrobi hills. So Silana is a pure Elaint. You'll find out later, but she is one of the most powerful dragons among them. So there are 5 dragons along with Krull and Krup's dream, I believe. he's suddenly taken into the dreamland, and
Yep.
Tool is not some ordinary Tilanimas. He is. Do you remember what his title is?
It was a bone caster, right?
No, no, he's not a bone caster. No,
First sword.
first sword of the
Oh.
empire. Yeah. So he's one of the top swordsmen of his clan, right? So he
So
fights
that's what that
Raised,
means?
and yeah, yeah, that's what that means. Yeah.
Just very literal.
Fuck. God.
First sword is
I feel stupid.
so you have all these people, and then even then, I think he has to transfer his essence into Mammoth, right?
Right.
Yep.
He gives up his dying body and takes over Mammoth's body. And after that, I think somebody else comes in. Paran has to fight the Finest, right?
Right. Yeah.
So Finest is where his power is kept, and Paran uses his hound blood and all that, and he attacks the
Yeah.
Finest parallel to people attacking Raised bar Mammoth. And at the same time, the Azath grows and takes over whatever is remaining. So basically, the Azath traps Mammoth. So it's not laid out that nicely. I wish it was, but it's not really easy. Him going down was not a simple event, but it gets more clearer when you can actually understand like what the hell is going on.
Right. Right. What the hell?
You'll learn more about the Azath in the next book.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet. Yeah. I felt like there was so much buildup towards Reyes and like the rumor in Gadrobi Hills, and there's this huge elaborate backstory about that's how Jerujistan was founded, and the whole blue fire underneath the city, et cetera, being exposed as they're looking for this barrow. And then he wakes up, he fights 5 fucking dragons, right? Manages to defeat them, gets pulled into Krupp Stream, and then battles Tool, and then is still able to flee or soul shift, right, to Mammoth. And then he's just some roots, taken down by Moranth munitions from a dude that is like a B character who's just like, I'm just gonna shoot these Moranth munitions because I know that his warren is open. Like, yeah, it went from like huge build like tension to execution to let's complicate it more is what I felt. And I feel like I understand it so much better now. Thanks to Derek and I's discussion and all of this as well. So
It just goes to show that Raist is that powerful, because the whole deal with the Tilanimas fighting Jagat and all that, it's all laid out much clearer, in the next 2-3 books. But this is how powerful that guy is, and why releasing him on Darujistan is such a bad idea. And even then, Lone just, she doesn't really stop herself, isn't it? She still goes ahead and does the whole thing, takes the Finest and buries it into the city and all that.
well, okay, and that brings me to, so thank you. And this is something that like I don't think I ever even put 2 and 2 together, but Tool is willing to help unleash Reyes, but then at the end of the day, he's seen battling him. Like, does that also get kind of explained? Or
No,
no?
no, there is no explanation as such, because even, even I'm not sure. He just does it because, I don't know, because he wanted to help out Lone. I really don't know why he then goes and battles him. Maybe he expected it would fail. I don't have a theory on that.
Interesting. I might have to think about that one some more. Or maybe I'll keep that in the back of my skull for when I do a reread eventually.
Or when you interview Erickson.
Or when there we go. There's another question. You're good, Mora. You're good.
Thanks.
I guess I feel like that kind of fed into some of that. One of our bullet points there was any dislikes that we had for the book. I feel like that was a pretty good discussion there. And maybe dislike is a strong word, but if that was a weaker part.
Like, there are quite a few weaker points, so tell me those, because those interest me more than the things which everyone praises and everyone loves.
Really? Why is that?
I don't know. Those things don't get discussed often, I feel.
No, that's fair. I mean, that's a fair point. Yeah, I guess those. I don't know if I have it. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I was disappointed with. Yeah.
When I reread recently, I discovered that, the Crimson Guard had names in this book because I'd completely forgotten Fingers and Blues that all have,
Right.
they're actually like characters with dialogue in this. I completely, glanced over all that when I read it for the first time. I mean, I wasn't paying attention like you guys, one chapter per week, and you're summarizing and discussing and all that.
Well, I feel like this is probably not. I recognize that the way Derek and I are doing this is not the way a typical reader would do it. So I feel like we're maybe, I don't know, a little more informed because I mean, in order for us to do these summaries, I can't speak for Derek, but for me, I have to read the chapter at least twice. I have to. But that also appeals to, I like detail. So I always pick up something more when I read it again. And then I'll read it essentially again when I summarize it, but I'm not reading the whole chapter. I'm just reading the sections I was assigned. So I think it allows us talking points and it allows us to deduce the book in kind of the unconventional way that you would normally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just takes us 6 months or so to read a book.
Only 6.
That way.
But if there is one series which you can concentrate like this and focus on all the details, it has to be this one. So good job selecting this.
Yeah, good job, Derek. That wasn't me. Derek's like, we're gonna read this. I'm like, sounds good.
No, well, it was a group effort. I feel like because when you came over to my place and we were being nerds, and I think you said you had this book too, right?
No,
You had
not at
this
all.
series, or at least some of it.
Nope, not at all.
I misremember that. Then I thought you said you had some of it.
No, I remember
Hmm.
you're an old roommate or something had left his copies with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you were like, I hear really good things about the series. We should read the first book and podcast it. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. Yeah, I'm new to fantasy. I still, like I said earlier, I feel like a baby. But after reading Wheel of Time, and I mentioned this a lot in the prologue, which that's a dislike that we could touch on later. Not as far as how we did it, but more so that we were so new, and I just want to go back to that episode and just be like, shut up, Justin, stop dribbling. Have a format and just like go in and fix things that, yeah, I can't stand to listen to those first 2 episodes. Anyway, I want more fantasy. I wanted to read more outside of the Wheel of Time. Yeah, I'm definitely going to. I've been reading the Redwall series while I've been reading this book, so then I have something to read every day.
What have you been reading?
The Redwall series, Brian Jakes.
Not familiar.
They're totally young adult. Like they're
I
easily
don't read those,
digestible.
like a quick read,
Right? Yeah. I mean,
like James Patterson.
right? Yeah. But you should check them out. I mean, there's 22 complete different stories, and they're pretty interesting for the most part. But you could definitely tell they're young adult.
Yeah, it's like mice and cats and rabbits and otter, like it's animals like are the characters. Yeah, I remember I didn't read all of them, but like 7th, 8th grade, read quite a good chunk of them.
I think I've heard of him. You really liked Wheel of Time?
I mean, I guess that's the only thing that I could say that I've completed. But I can see Erickson overtaking Jordan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A lot more dense.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not missing the hair tugging every other sentence. So
Yeah.
not that
Or,
super bothered me like it does other people, but it like, okay, cool. We know she's got this tick.
Yeah, I tried. There's a lot I've tried to read that I couldn't read. There's a lot I tried to read that I couldn't really get into, especially Sanderson.
Oh, really?
It's just I don't know. I tried Mistborn, Stormlight Archive. I just can't get into them. It's just too thin, I guess, or too easy.
This is.
I don't know how to
Have you
explain
guys?
it.
I've not read most of the other big fantasy names, but have you all read King Killer Chronicles?
I love King Killer.
You love it. Oh God. Okay.
Was that Sanders?
You didn't like it?
Not really. because
I understand. I mean, a lot of people don't. I get it.
yeah, I mean, the third book would probably change my mind, but so far it's
What about Game of Thrones? Have you read that?
no, I no, I didn't read them. No,
No.
Have you seen the
I
TV
started the
show?
first book, and yeah, I love the show. Yeah,
Okay.
I've not seen Hot D recently because I didn't have time, but I used to love
Right.
the show. I started the first book, and I thought, this is just too damn dense, and who the hell is going to figure out small clues and put together parentage and things like that. And I know I got annoyed and stopped it, but
Right.
yeah, I'm doing that with Malazan now.
I'd say, as far as Malazan, the only series that I found that's like, sometimes I'll say it's tied with Malazan. Sometimes I'll say Malazan's better. Is R. Scott Baker, and that's Prince of Nothing. And now that is hard to read.
Yeah,
That
this
series
is a
is
name
hard.
which gets thrown around a lot, Baker, so I should get
Yeah.
into them sometime.
Yeah. Erickson and Baker go hand in hand in a lot of people's opinions.
Well, I mean, I think the goal is that once we finish Malazan, that we will move on to other series or books. I know that that's like 4.5 years away, but
Oh yeah,
you're
gonna love Malazan though.
Okay, good.
It gets like, trust me, you're not gonna run out of stuff to read for a while. You got the main 10, you got Ian Esselmon's 6, you got the prequels, and then I think Erickson wrote a sequel series too. He started.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, the Witness trilogy. The first book is out.
Did you read it?
Yeah, it's very good.
Oh yeah, okay, cool.
So
he's writing the second one, so that should be out soon. So
I can't wait for these two guys to meet Karsa.
You do know that he's mentioned explicitly in all interviews that the Witness trilogy does not have Karsa in the first book.
Huh?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about book 4, House of Chains.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you want these guys to meet Karsa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be fun.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we should not be.
That's okay. It's fun hearing you guys talk about it too.
I'm just there's a lot of characters that I'm excited for you guys to meet, and I was talking about one of them from a couple books to go for you guys in book 4. But there's a lot of great characters. I mean, some of them you've already met, but you're in for a ride. And the thing with Malazan too is there's 3 different arcs, like story arcs. Book 2 is a whole different story. You got some of the same characters from book 1, but book 2 is like its own. It's the start of its own arc. Book 3 is a sequel to book 1. Book 4 is a sequel to book 2. Book 5 is a whole new arc with all new characters. And then it's like 6 is a sequel to 1 and 3. Or no, 2. 6 is a sequel to 2.
Yeah.
2 and 4, yeah, but with some of the characters from the other ones. Malazan's incredible.
And also when you see the dramatis personae, isn't it? I think till Bone Hunters, till the 6th book, it's all going to be all new names for pages and pages.
Yeah.
At only Bone Hunters, you can look at all the names and think, yes, I know like 50% of these names already.
Mm-hmm.
That's something you get used to. And by book 5, I think most people get annoyed that you're meeting a whole new bunch of characters in a whole new city and all that.
I love book 5.
Yeah,
that's probably my second favorite.
Yeah, I just read that recently. I reread that, and yeah, it's definitely one of the best.
What are your top 3 favorite ones, Mora?
I don't rank them, but because I'm rereading, I would say Toll the Hounds, Memories of Ice, and Midnight Tides.
Okay.
But it's been a long time since I read the last 2, so once I read them again, I might change my mind.
Right.
But
that's
Toll
what a
the
lot of people
Hounds
say.
will be the top, so there's no moving that from there.
I'm looking forward to that one next.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys are excited to get in the Dead House Gates.
Yes, we are. I know that I have been, I don't know, probably for the last 2 months when we're rounding around third base, so to speak, with this book. Like, holy shit, dude, you realize there's like 100 pages left? Like, holy shit, dude, like we're 50 pages away, and it just, the anticipation, it was just so much anticipation. And then when I finally read the prologue to Dead House Gates, it was like, now I just want more. But I have to wait. I have to wait a week.
You guys are not planning to Sorry, you guys are not planning to change the format at all, like 2 chapters per week or something?
We did try doing 2 in this book, and it didn't go well, and we had to abandon that pretty
Okay.
We're just,
quick.
Okay.
if we did this full time, it would be a different story.
Right.
But
But I guess I don't know. I wouldn't be against changing up the format if we found something that, if we needed to do something different for a book, if something else worked better.
is that?
So I think go ahead,
Oh,
Justin.
I was just gonna. I mean, you could finish your thought.
I was thinking, I kind of feel like we'll probably just feel it out, on a book by book basis.
I mean, Mora, I know that you have your own podcasts, and as
Yeah.
well as in conjunction with another. Would you recommend staying the same, or I mean, would you recommend condensing multiple chapters
No,
into
no.
an episode?
It's a matter of convenience for you guys. It's just that I'm impatient to,
Oh,
listen to what you guys think about it.
Me too.
okay, fair enough. Okay, I'll take that, Derek. I'll take that.
No, but the thing with summarizing, what happens is, as you go on, there is a lot of internal monologues, which, you need not really summarize them because they are more to convey the tone rather than, something that you need to remember and, keep in mind to read the next sections. It's not usually like that. Like, for example, if there is a march going on and one of the soldier goes into this long tangent about, how sad he is or how he's missing home and all that. So, there are sections like that, which makes it easier for you when you guys start summarizing those things.
That's good to know.
Because in gardens, it's just action, right? It's just full of action. As you go on, it's not always action, and there is a lot of, pauses and deep thoughts and people just thinking things. So I don't know. As you say, you guys can feel it out. But me and Evan, I think, are curious to, we're just waiting for you guys to finish fast and see where you go.
You've got 4.5 years away.
I was just saying it's crazy because when I first found your guys' podcast and I started communicating with Derek, I think I was just finishing Gardens of the Moon.
I think that sounds about right. Or you're towards the end of it, anyways.
Now I'm about halfway through Reaper's Gale, and I've read one of Esselmont's too.
Can I say when I started talking to Justin,
Yeah.
by the time I'm here as a guest, I have my own podcast. So it's been that long.
That's even better.
Yeah.
Was I an inspiration for you?
No, it was the back of my mind. I was trying to put something together, but then finally this thing happened with my other friend editor, Lee. So he's read all the books, and I was about to start reading Esselmont novels. So that was the basis for starting the podcast. But then we have been doing all character analysis and thematic analysis and things like that. So
Got a question for Mora.
yeah.
When it comes to a lot of these fantasy books, do you ever have trouble like finding like one that you really want to read, but do you ever have trouble finding it in like the right language?
I only read English, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, I speak
Sorry, I
like
didn't know.
Tamil and Kannada, and nobody translates anything there, and I can't read them that fluently as
Okay, yeah, because I always wonder that, it's because I know a lot of books they don't get translated to certain, especially like self-published books, because the author might not have the money to do all that. And I was just thinking, it must really like suck to be in that
What
position.
sucks here in India is that we don't get all the the good fantasy books are not available as a paperback that easily.
Oh,
Like
paperback.
yeah, I mean in general, the physical form of books for fantasy especially is a little it's a little too expensive, I feel. Like most of the other pulp fiction books you can find like quite easily, but Malazan is it is expensive for Toll the Hounds, because I read exclusively on Kindle, but I wanted Toll the Hounds as a physical copy, and it took me a while to get a reasonable priced one. So that's the difficulty here.
I mean, to be honest, it's hard. Like over here, everyone has their preference. There's, you got the hardback books. You have mass market paperback, which is the really small, really small copies. I cannot stand them. I can't read them. I don't know if I don't know if it's my OCD or if it hurts my eyes, or I don't like having to hold the pages up. But for whatever reason, I like trade paperback, and that's that's like paperback. That's like the size of a hardback, but with a paperback cover and format. So I wanted to find all the 10 of the Malazan books in trade paperback. And normally trade paperback is something that like you only when the books first came out you'll find them. For whatever reason, it took me forever to find some of these 10 books in paperback in trade paperback. I got lucky. I went to a used bookstore and I found I think books 2 and then books 4 through 10 in trade paperback, and I got like all of them for a really good price. I had to pay a little bit of money for Memories of Ice though, just to satisfy my OCD.
I get that. I'm not a trade paperback fan. I do like the paperbacks, the mass markets, and I do like
Really?
hardcovers. So, for example, my Wheel of Time collection, and maybe you guys, I'm showing a little bit of vulnerability here, but all of the paperbacks for the Wheel of Time are in like near fine condition, and I have all of the hardcovers for them as well. And
Okay, I got a couple.
I have all of the Malazan in hardcover, but they're the book club editions. They're not the standard hardcover.
Right.
And Reaper's Gale, when I got it, was signed by the author, by Erickson. So that was a lovely surprise.
You have a signed copy of Reaper's Gale?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow.
That's very nice.
A book club edition one. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of question its authenticity, but I'm not going to pay someone to authenticate it.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to tell. I have a couple Robert Jordan ones that were signed, but then they were the ones that came out after he died. So I'm like, okay, this can't be him.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
And those are the nice old hardback ones with the original covers. I think Daryl Sweet's the artist. I think that's his name. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he did the artwork for Wheel of Time books.
I find the artwork to be like, I think the artwork's good, but as far as like what the characters are supposed to look like, I think it's terrible.
How is this
That
like
is so nice to see.
It always seemed a little maybe cheesy, but I don't know. They hold a special place in my heart.
What?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just funny. They got when did you read Wheel of Time?
I finished February of this year.
Okay, so pretty recently. Huh?
Yeah.
And you like the show, right?
I like the what?
The show.
I do. Yeah. I see where people are coming from. However, I feel like they're being a bit too critical with it.
A lot of them are.
I feel like Derek and I have a side quest pertaining to that particular subject.
Probably coming next week.
The show? The Wheel of Time show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got something lined up for that if we can make it work.
I didn't watch it actually. I didn't have time. But are you guys going to like cover the episodes?
I think we're just gonna talk. Like, I guess what really, makes me angry is everyone is so quick to just knock it. And while I can see their points, like they don't even give it the benefit of the doubt. I mean, it's its first season, right? It was Amazon Prime's highest watched show in a long time. And it's just people, I don't think people are just giving it enough credit. But I mean, if we want to see something that, I mean, it could be worse. They did do a prologue from Eye of the World, and it was god awful. I forget what it's even titled, but it was terrible.
Winter Dragon.
Like, we could totally go back to that if they want. Like, it could be fucking worse, So, well, I think we're just gonna talk about. Sorry, that was a tangent. I think we're just gonna talk about
season.
Those points, but it gets me a little upset.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Billy Zane, I think, was in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Were there any moments in the show, either Mora and Evan, if we made you chuckle or giggle?
There are quite a few, but I think I've told you the Krupp, your mispronunciation of Krupp.
Krupp.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And I think I'm not sure who was that, but you guys were mispronouncing eel as L for some time.
You leave me alone, okay? It was Stranger.
Sorry, was that you again?
It was. We were watching the last season of or we were watching Stranger Things, and for some reason,
Oh,
L. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Okay, well, good. I'm
I-
glad that we could
I
provide
didn't even remember that. I didn't remember that at all. Actually,
what
just
that makes
calling
sense. Yeah.
calling the eel L.
yeah, but I was probably like, "What are you saying?"
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it sounds like you reacted like that. I feel like that's a familiar.
Yeah, because I don't know, you guys have, there were lots of funny moments, and it was nice to see, sort of this irreverent take, because most book analysis tend to be quite serious, and, so it was fun to see you guys enjoyed so much.
Well, I feel like, I mean, we've completed one book now, and it was never not fun doing it, and it's fun talking with the three of you right now. And if we're having fun, that's going to come through and hopefully make it more enjoyable. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this isn't a job or a career for us. It's just kind of a newfound hobby that we're doing this, and I mean, why shouldn't it be fun? It definitely should be.
We would like to have this be what we do every day, but unfortunately, it doesn't put bread on the table. But I mean, what are your two thoughts on, I guess, monetizing the show? Like, would you just keep it a hobby thing, or would you, try to make a little bit of a coin from it?
You're asking me or Derek?
Either, anybody.
Okay. Me personally, no. It's just for fun, and I wouldn't want to, have any sort of constraint on that, because it's just me and this friend, and we keep talking Malazan so much every day. So why not just make it into an audio format? That's it.
That's
So
fair.
I don't know. This it's hard enough as it is. Once you start worrying about monetizing things, and I don't know, Patreon is the way people go. So all that sounds, sort of less fun to me.
Do you think it would just complicate the relationship?
Yes, it's like, I'm not sure if you'll get it, but it's like between ascendants and, once people start. Well, sorry, I think this will always spoiler territory. I'll just say that once I expect money from people, you are bound to, like, give something high quality in return. And I don't know. I don't know what we are doing is high quality enough to warrant money, is what I feel.
Fair enough. Gotcha. Appreciate that. I think Derek and I think we're on the fence on that. So that was more or less just maybe looking for perspective.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think you should go for it regardless, because you guys are putting so much effort, right?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Actually, I got two of them. My first one is do you have any what predictions do you have going forward?
Oh, geez.
And I don't even know. uh,
I mean,
things probably get a lot worse before they get better.
I feel like, the Azath and Dead House Gates, I feel like they are related in some way, shape, or form, just based on the way that the finist that was buried in the garden of Lady Simmental's estate grew. And then we find out Rallick enters a dead house like the one in Malaz City. So I feel like this is some, altered dimension. I don't know if this has to deal with Hood or if this is just a way to explore hell. So I feel like Krupp, Murillo, potentially Call, and all of them as try to seek out or find where Rallick and Vorkan went, where Kalam, Apsalar, Crocus, and those guys go back to Ikito Khan, and I feel like it's not going to be as happy ending as one would think. Like taking someone home, okay, well that's pretty cut and dry, but I feel like there's definitely going to be more that happens with that. Like there's going to be some type of struggle to get back and meet up with the bridge burners. And then I feel like the bridge burners are going to essentially try to take out the Penny and Seer. Those are my predictions.
Oh, I mean, don't they say that? Something like that or something? They're going to.
I mean, I feel like it's insinuated in the last in the epilogue, but it just I think it is playing off the reader's assumption that that's going to happen, and I'm totally biting.
Okay. My other question is, and this isn't really book related, but you know how you guys do an episode and you'll cover a chapter?
Yeah.
Would you guys ever want to do something like an after show after every episode that I could do with you guys instead of like just, does that make sense?
So like after we record,
Like an hour. I mean, it would be like you record the episode, that's the episode, but then like you have like an hour after show every once in a while where you talk about stuff in more like just an open chat about it.
Yeah, I would be open to that.
Yeah, I mean, if you got the time.
I mean,
you get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can't speak for Derek, but I would assume, there's a mindset there, and that I feel like, with all four of us being able to talk about it is there's four different perspectives, and things are aligning, things are, eye-opening, things are kind of like, yeah, it's just it's great, and this is essentially the fundamental podcasting premise that Derek and I set forth, was just have a discussion with a good buddy, and so yeah, I'd be open to that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd be definitely be grateful to do it, and I'd enjoy it too. I think you guys would. And plus too, like that gives you still have like the episode you guys do like with the book, and
Yeah,
you still have like your thing. Just it would be like just a little extra.
I mean, I know Mora, you suggested maybe potentially doing something like this after each sub book.
Yeah, those would be good because they usually have some sort of so it's possible to talk at those points, to stop and discuss what has happened so far. So
Right. What do
I
you
think that's a good idea.
Sweet.
Cashmore, I did have a question for you. This is something, since Justin told me you were going to come on, I'd wondered about. Is there any like Eastern influences in this book that you can see?
in gardens, not
Yeah.
not particularly, not really, no.
Okay.
But maybe in some future books we'll be able to discuss Eastern religion and all that.
Okay. Good to know.
Just, I mean, you're very much going to have a different perspective from us, so I was curious about that. If there is something we weren't seeing that, you did, it'd be cool to get that
not
from
particularly Eastern, but I think Evan was mentioning that he likes seeing how the ascendants and immortals roam around among the humans, isn't it? So this is all directly influenced from Greek epics. So Erickson is a huge fan of the Iliad. So
Oh,
Well,
that's what
whatever
they're
happened to
trying
your
to-
show on that? I listened to that.
Sorry, which one? Oh, that I'm sorry, I abandoned it.
I gathered that must have been the case, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
think
was-
you had 2 episodes. I listened to those.
I think I had a little more than 2, but I got bored of
Oh,
listening to
okay.
myself. You need a conversation. It can't be just one person, because I don't bring any expertise to the subject. So it got boring.
That would be hard. I can imagine.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no problem, because I learned some few things about how to set up a podcast and all that. So once we started, it was very smooth.
Yeah.
Good.
Till we got the first feedback that 2 hours is too long, we were recording like this. But then now,
I mean, I remember
Now-
being scared about that at the beginning. I'm like, there's no way we can have a 2-hour episode. Like, who would actually want to listen 2 hours to us talk?
yeah,
But I feel like that is the average for our episodes, is about 2 hours.
yeah, because you guys have a set thing to cover, isn't it? You have to finish the entire chapter, so it takes its time.
Yeah, that's fair.
I wanted to ask you guys,
Yeah.
which character are you most excited to follow among all these?
Ooh.
Who are you looking forward to meet again?
That's a hard question because I could say a lot of the characters. I think finding out about what Tattersail has been up to will be interesting.
Yeah.
But I would say, you know, Whiskey Jack in that direction is also interesting to me, where that's going to go.
Yeah, you are given quite the information is very less. Yeah, about what the Banyan is up to and all that.
I think Tattersail for sure. But also Apsalar. Even though we don't really know anything about her personality outside of, the end of the book there a little bit, I'm really curious as to see uh, where her journey takes her, her epic quest, so to speak. Um, yeah, Apsalar and probably Tattersail, and maybe a little bit Paran.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. What did you guys think about Crocus?
I think he's a whiny little bitch.
Okay.
To put it, yeah, I guess that wasn't putting it nicely. No, I
Oh
think,
no, I understand. Yeah.
but I feel like, Crocus is young. I would imagine that he's probably a player for a while and that he's got a longer story arc that I'm not seeing. But in this particular book, he drove me crazy just with the bad decisions, just his like no fucks given attitude. Yeah, doing whatever he pleases type of thing. Yeah.
Do you agree with the same, Derek?
I guess I didn't have such a strong dislike for him like Justin did, but maybe some indifference, I guess. Just kind of like, okay, well, maybe I could relate a little bit because I was a dumb kid too once. So I'm expecting we'll see some growth out of him.
Yeah, because even I couldn't stand him the first time, but this time, it made a lot of sense to me. As you say, he's quite young and he's just lost his whole family, isn't it? Like his whole family was Mammoth, basically.
Right.
So he's lost all that. And it was a little sad to read him again. Uh, It just, I don't know why the writing is the same, but, our perception just changes the second time you read the same character.
Just hits the feels a little different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so like, are you talking about like through a reread?
Not just for the reread. I mean, if you guys reread the sections again, I think you'll have a little more,
Empathy.
you'll probably find him a little bit sadder than the first time because it's easy to just dismiss him as this young, clueless guy. And then, I don't know, you find a little more depth when you read the second time.
I think I can understand. I mean, I haven't done that yet, but I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was so sure I wouldn't like him at all.
And now you do.
Yeah, I do. Yes. Yeah.
Cool. I mean,
Do we have time? Can I ask you more?
oh, absolutely. Yeah, we have plenty of time.
Okay, sure. Because you guys are fresh from Gardens, I want to know what you think of Chalice because her story continues somewhere down the line, and I just recently did an episode on Chalice, and we read Gardens and the other book again. So I'm just curious to know what is your impression about this girl?
She is kind of a brat, I thought.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting how she confused Crocus with I can't remember the other character's name now.
Gorlas.
Gorlas.
There, yes. It makes me think of Goro from Mortal Kombat. I don't know her. I think her family seems interesting. That they're kind of part of this rich nobility. Yeah, I don't know, Justin. What do you think?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Mora.
no, I'm waiting for Justin. Yeah, go on.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I see what's happening here. I don't know. She just seems so vapid to me. I just more or less the same things that that Derek was saying, and just kind of this clueless brat that really doesn't know anything outside of the life of nobility. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of agree with that. I feel the same way about her, but not many people do that. My my friend especially, he has a lot of sympathy to Chalice as a character, and I don't. So I was just curious what you guys think. Whether I'm colored because of the other stuff I've read about her, or whether she's always been the spoiled brat from the beginning.
um, it-
Well, yeah, I would say right now there's just not a lot there for us to feel sympathetic for.
Yeah.
I mean, she's living the good life. She's rich. I mean, she doesn't want for anything. And she's for right now is living on Easy Street.
Yeah.
I think things could change. I mean, that could change in a heartbeat, really.
So, okay, once you finish this book, do you guys have any idea about the title? Why is it called Gardens of the Moon?
I was trying to think if there was anything. I don't remember reading anything that explained it, but maybe Justin does remember something.
I feel like there when it was Crocus. No. Oh my God, why can't I remember the scene?
Yes, it's Crocus. Go on.
Crocus and Apsalar, right? When they're at the Karul Tower and they're talking about Moonspawn, they're talking about some garden that or some dude that lives in the garden that comes down and like accepts people. I can't remember the specific wording, but yeah. That's what I'm thinking has to do with Gardens of the Moon. Some type, yeah. I'm way off, aren't I?
No. It's
You're a lot closer than I was.
No, that's correct, because that's the only time we get this mention of Gardens in the Moon. Is a childhood story which Apsala remembers, where she thinks about some guy living on the moon who has gardens and things like that. So that is where the title is taken from. But with Erickson, it's not just about the story always. So we have to talk about themes. What do you guys think is the theme in this book?
I think it's going back to, I mean, how essentially the rest of her childhood innocence was just taken from her. I mean,
spot on. Yeah, that's what I feel, because with the title and the epigraphs and all that, I think the entire theme is about innocence in gardens. So please continue. I just interrupted you.
No, that was all of that I had. Yeah, it just when you brought that up, I'm like, and I didn't even remember that it was Apsalar's childhood story. So when you mentioned that, I'm like, okay, that makes more sense there. And the whole innocence, Crocus, Apsalar, Chalice, right? Like
there's so many more characters who lose their innocence. Lone,
right.
She was a child, isn't it?
Yep.
When the claw took her, and Ganos, who decides to become a soldier and all that.
Right.
So,
yep.
Lots of lost innocence there.
Right. Exactly. I mean, some of it, were their decisions, but some of it was not necessarily their will.
You're a harsh person, Justin.
What?
I mean, they're all children, isn't it? All these, especially Ganos, who, when he decides to become a soldier, even in spite of seeing all the riots and all in front of him.
Right. So. Yeah. I mean, it was his choice, wasn't it?
Yeah, but
and
he
then
was
we just
still
see
a child.
him. And then I think the next thing we saw was he walks through the the killing field that the hounds left, right?
You're right. Yep. Yeah.
And that was pretty brutally described.
Yeah. And then he mentions it that he feels suddenly he's grown up and all that.
Much faster than he would have otherwise.
Sorry. No, I didn't catch you. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just, when you guys were talking about the Ikito Khan massacre, it just reminded me that I attempted to sketch that out. And I did post it to our, like, the D&J's Epic Quest Instagram, but I just totally forgot about it.
I don't follow you on Instagram. Oh.
Well, we don't really do much with the Instagram.
But I think you should, any fan art is always good, because we have so few done once here. So if you've done that, I would really love to see that. Can you send like a link or something?
Yeah, I can definitely do that. I definitely can do that. I'll send it to your Reddit thing.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, whoops. Man, I feel like I'm at that point where I feel like I'm struggling to talk about things.
I feel like I've been saving this bullet point for us here.
I mean, the
You
only
have
We want to go for that now?
before we do, sir, Mora, is there any light you can shed to epigraphs in relation to the chapters, or are they meant to be like a separate thing?
no. Yeah, I've told you this before. It's mostly things which Erickson writes just before he starts writing the chapter to set the tone for it,
Gotcha.
so that he knows what exactly he wants to cover in that chapter. But sometimes they do add to the world building. So I think the last chapter epigraph is about the Azath. It mentions how the Azath works and all that. So it helps you understand it, but it's just don't skip them. I mean, most people tend to
No,
skip
never.
them. So, yeah.
And I think that was kind of a later thing where we started reading them, but I mean, I always read them still.
Right,
I'm sure
yeah.
you did too, Justin. But yeah, sometimes they're a little more cryptic, and sometimes they're a little more obvious. After you read the chapter, like, oh, okay, well, I can relate to that epigraph now.
Yeah. But frankly, some of the poems in Midnight Tides, I've been skipping. They really bore me.
Gosh, Mora.
But most of them are fun to read, whether you understand them or not.
Right.
He writes good poems.
Yeah, I like poems. Good poems. Cool.
Okay, well, Cashmore. So this one I thought would be kind of a fun thing to do towards the end of things, and maybe even after I present it, I'll go first to give you some time. But I was thinking if this was going to be made into a movie or a TV show, who would be asked for some of the characters? And
She's laughing. She's laughing already.
so when I read this book, I got a very big sense of, I guess, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Saving Private Ryan. It's a World War II movie.
Yeah, I'm aware it exists. I've not seen it. Which actor specifically are you talking about?
So when I read this, I got a lot of Tom Hanks vibes for Whiskey Jack, as this character from Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, I'm aware of Tom Hanks. Don't worry.
But as specifically that character that he played in that movie, just kind of almost like a reluctant leader, is kind of what I felt. And then Lorne was another one that I thought of, and I felt like Charlize Theron would be a good actress to play Lorne. And when reading Lorne made me think a lot about the character she played in Prometheus. Vickers was the name of her character. Just kind of cold and not very well received. And then Apsalar, I felt like a young Dakota Fanning. Those were the three that came to me. I don't know if you had any thoughts, Justin, of who you would pick to play who. But those are three off the top of my head.
I mean, I feel, and I'm sure I've been given shame for this almost my entire life, but I don't know. I just, when it comes to pop culture and actors and actresses, I don't really associate with anything. They're just there. They just exist, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain that any better. They're acting. They're part of the movie. And I guess I don't really associate them to anything else. Their pieces remain singular, if that makes any damn sense. So I don't think that I can contribute to this question very well.
Okay, that's
what
fair.
I'm getting at.
Tom Hanks, I feel, is not gruff enough to play Whiskey Jack. I don't know. Just
Are you thinking like
I
Jason
feel-
Momoa?
sorry,
Jason Momoa or
Whiskey Jack.
Jason Momoa for with?
No, there's a great character in Deadhouse Gates which would be perfect for him.
Oh,
So
okay.
keep an eye out for that. But I don't think it's clear by now. But Itko Khan people are supposed to be like Asian, Asian features. So when you cast Apsalar, you might want to think about an Asian actress than Dakota Fanning.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even catch that. I didn't even.
No, it's not clear at all. It's it's extremely vaguely just dropped somewhere. So
Gotcha.
or maybe
I
it comes
guess-
up in the next book. I'm not sure.
Oh, the other one I thought this one's going to sound really stupid, but Dujek. For what I could all, the only thing I could imagine when we read Dujek was the one-armed guy from The Simpsons, the like Vietnam veteran that ran the military surplus store.
Yeah.
Like that's who I thought of. Like I imagine he's got a cigarette, smoke, while he's dealing his surplus military goods. So yeah, just my random brain.
No, it's fine. Random brain is.
Do you have an actor for Kalam?
I don't.
Because I feel Idris Elba would be perfect for that.
Yep. I can see that.
Yeah.
That part I can see.
I would not be unhappy about that at all.
No, that is a very good looking man.
Oh, he is. Yeah. I think. But Erickson and Esselmont, I think they've mentioned before that they would prefer to see an animated version of their books than a live action one.
I could see that working out a little bit more. I feel like you can get away with a lot more in animation than you could live action.
Like just imagine the Siege of Pale. I don't know how it will be possible, or how can they even convey it on a live action thing. If it's just animated, I'm sure it will be a much nicer thing to watch.
It'd be pretty hard to do live action.
Yeah. So this book started out as a screenplay. Are you aware of that?
I feel
I
like I
had
heard
heard that,
something
yes.
about it. But
Yeah. So that's why it has this much action. It's so action oriented compared to all the other 9 books.
good to know.
Yeah.
I like that. Sorry, I'm running out of stuff.
Have we run out of stuff to say? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Derek and I always do this where we get to the end and we've talked everything that we need to talk, and then we just linger because that's how Minnesotans say goodbye. We say goodbye and then we talk for 30 more minutes and then we say goodbye again and then
Yeah.
But, I mean, I thought it was a great episode. I had lots of fun. I definitely would like to do this again. I feel like you brought
100%.
so much insight, Mora. I can't extend how much I appreciate the knowledge that you've shared with us. So,
Oh, this is so much fun for me. You guys have no idea. But thank you so much for calling me.
yeah, you're very welcome. I think that I guess we'll not Minnesota goodbye this, and we'll let you get some rest if that's what you're going to do.
Yes.
Get some sleepy time.
So thank you so much, guys. Thanks for calling me.
You're very welcome, Kashmora. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Bye.
Thank you
Enjoy the
again
rest
for-
of this.
Yes.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
Nope.
Bye.
Bye.
Right.